Greetings, this is Attorney TMG, and I want to speak to the moms regarding the type of evidence they may need in court. We've been talking about how some moms lose custody, and many of the mothers who have been commenting have been talking about how, well, dad hasn't been around, dad hasn't been financially supporting. When dad does have visitation, he brings the child back in 2 hours, or dad won't even exercise visitation without me. So I want to talk a little bit about the type of evidence you're going to need in court to address these issues. A lot of times, some ladies lose custody because of, frankly, the manner in which their case is prepared or maybe ill-prepared. I cannot underscore how very important evidence is in these types of cases. It shouldn't be he said versus she said. One of the things you need to do if dad has been historically inconsistent is to make a timeline for the court. Judges love when you present your information and evidence in chronological order. Typically, if you don't know specific dates, and to the extent you know an exact date, that's great. If you know the month and year, that's great. But you can't jump around and say, okay, well, he did this last summer. No, it was summer before that. Or 2 Christmases ago, or was that in 2017? That's not how you present evidence to court. You do want the judge to be able to follow along. So one of the first things I always tell my client, maybe you can consider doing, is making a timeline of the parental relationship or whenever the problems began. Sometimes people are together and then they break up, and perhaps you can make the timeline from there. But make a timeline for the court, kind of documenting whatever dad's inconsistencies are. Lack of payment, lack of visitation, just lack. So for instance, if dad has not paid child support on time, please put that, or incomplete, whatever it is, put it on your timeline. Also, don't be afraid to put some good things about dad. Like, let's say, for instance, he paid his child support on time and in full, and then he went the next 8 months and didn't pay either on time or in full. It's okay to say, hey, he did this. I don't understand why he stopped doing it. It's not an opportunity really to bash that. It's just to show the lack of consistency. Same thing with the visitation. And then when you make the timeline, it's really important and imperative to have some evidence to substantiate the things that are listed on your timeline. For instance, if there are some text message communications about why he's not paying, or you asking for money or whatever, include those as evidence. In addition to text message communications, if you and dad are communicating via email, if an email can substantiate something on your timeline, that would be great. Or even if he sends a DM on social media, whatever it is. Or if there are some receipts, dad says to you, well, you know what, I'm not going to be able to give you the child support, but I'll bring you some diapers. And he brings the diapers and the receipt is there. I'm trying to tell you, keep this type of evidence, because judges will, first of all, be impressed. Put it in a proper manner in which the judge can follow along, and you can really convey the story that you need to tell. If dad has any kind of criminal history, there's a way to do a public records request to get those records to present to the court. If dad has a bunch of DUIs, you're concerned about that, you can get that information too. Whatever you have on your timeline, to the extent that there is a separate document to substantiate what you're saying, get that. Prove your case. Also, in addition to the text messages, you may want to videotape. For instance, if you or dad are having an argument about something, hey, videotape it. Get your phone out. Record it. Also, you may want to record some of your conversations. Here in Georgia, it's like utopia for us lawyers. Only one side of the conversation needs to know that the conversation is being recorded. I know that in other states you have to gain the permission of the other party, but to the extent that you can record something, hey, you can record it and still provide it to a guardian ad litem. But record, videotape, take pictures, save receipts, save any kind of documentation, especially if dad is telling you he has no money, but he's on social media living his best life, showing cars and trips and gifts that he's buying for other women. Just document as much as you can, and to the extent possible, have that on your timeline with the supporting documents.